Welcome back to the kitchen at Booyah Hill. I'm very delighted to have you here today because we are going to make one of my favorite recipes. We're going to be making a cottage pie together, which is perfect for a cool spring day like we're having today. Shepherd's pie actually uses minced lamb instead of minced beef. And so if you're going to be using minced beef, it's considered a cottage pie. And if you're going to be using minced lamb, it's called a shepherd's pie. So what you'll need for this recipe is pretty easy. So you're going to need some potatoes. Any variety really works, just as long as you can mash them. You're going to need an onion, parsley, ketchup, coconut aminos, and maple syrup. I am using frozen veggies today. You could use fresh if you want to. This makes for a wonderful filling. We're going to use salt and pepper, and of course minced beef. And I will also add in some garlic just to give it some extra flavor. The beautiful thing about this recipe is that it's very adaptable. So this is more of the traditional recipe, but you can get creative as well, which is always fun. All right, without further ado, let's get started on making our cottage pie. Okay, so we are gonna start by boiling our potatoes because that takes longer. And so I'm gonna grab my nice pot here. This is a great recipe to cook on nights when you're busy. Maybe you have church or you have a meeting to go to. You can get this meal done in under an hour's time, which is great when you're in a rush. All right, and now we're gonna get on chopping our onion for our minced beef and onion mixture. Honestly, I have heard from housewives of old, if you have onion and butter and garlic cooking on the stove, it can make anyone weak in the knees, and I think it's a true statement. It doesn't take much to make the house smell delightful. It's the simple pleasures in life. I think this dish really is the epitome of comfort food. It's warming, it's hearty, and it's got a lot of things in it that will kind of stick to your bones on a cold day. All right, we're gonna get this over to the cast iron and we're gonna saute our onions for just a bit with some butter. And then once those are cooked down, we're gonna add our minced beef. All right, so our onions are cooked down and I am now gonna add the minced beef. Okay, our ground beef and onions are looking great. The minced beef is not completely cooked through yet, and that's what I want. I do not want it to be overcooked in this cottage pie. So I'm gonna undercook it a little bit because it will go in the oven to finish out cooking. And now it looks like it's a perfect time to add our frozen veggies. You hear the rain up there? I love days like today because we're not in winter, but it's cool and it's that spring weather that brings about rain and is so good for the garden and for our souls, quite frankly. So I personally like to mix everything together in my pie dish. So I will take my minced beef, onion, and vegetable mixture and put it in here. And then I will go ahead and add my tomato sauce, maple syrup, and coconut aminos once everything is in this bowl. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'm gonna add a generous bit of salt, about a ½ teaspoon of salt. You can always add more salt to each individual serving, just depending on the liking of each person. Okay, and then I'm gonna add my freshly ground pepper. Smells so yummy. And I love parsley. You can omit this step, but I absolutely love adding parsley. I just think it tastes so yummy and adds kind of a fun look. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of dried garlic powder. And I just eyeball it because I love garlic. Okay, and now we're gonna add our tomato sauce, coconut aminos, and maple syrup. Now that everything is mixed all together, we're gonna get on with our mashed potatoes. And of course, if you know cottage pie at all, the mashed potatoes are gonna go on top and they're gonna get cooked and nice and golden brown in the oven. So let's make those mashed potatoes next. Years ago, I got this handy dandy potato masher. I love it. It's from Rossley, which is one of my favorite brands for buying any sort of kitchen utensils. They're super high quality and they last for years. I'm not gonna use any milk tonight. I'm actually just gonna use butter. And you might be shocked at how much butter I use, but that's okay. You use how much you want to use for your mashed potatoes. Any mashed potato recipe will do for this. I just boil my potatoes and add several generous hunks of a good quality butter, and they turn out fabulous. This is such a rustic dish. I just love that it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's kind of messy, yet beautiful. So you're gonna pile your mashed potatoes on top, and you're almost gonna frost your cottage pie with the potatoes. And there is our cottage pie, all ready for the oven. I am gonna add garnish of dried parsley on top, just for looks, because I think it's so pretty. Okay, and we are done getting our cottage pie ready for the oven. We are gonna cook this at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for the next 15 to 20 minutes, or until the top is golden brown. After it's done cooking, you can leave it to cool for another 5 to 10 minutes, at which point you can cut into it and enjoy. All right, my friends, there is our shepherd's pie all ready to be enjoyed. You can see that the mashed potatoes got nice and golden brown on top, indicating that it is done and ready to be enjoyed. So that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I hope that it was helpful to you, and I hope it's a recipe that you and your family will enjoy greatly. So as usual, thank you so much for joining me on today's video, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye for now.